This is a rapid summary of The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. There are three main points to this book. First, it reveals the brutal corporate politics and intense personal struggle Iger endured just to get the top job at a deeply fractured Disney. Second, it takes you behind the curtain of the famous acquisitions, exposing the raw, high-stakes negotiations with notoriously difficult personalities like Steve Jobs and Ike Perlmutter. Third, it details how a CEO's true character is forged in moments of shocking crisis, from handling geopolitical incidents to navigating profound human tragedy. Let's explore these points. First, Iger's path to CEO was anything but certain. The book pulls back the curtain on the final tumultuous years of Michael Eisner's reign, a period marked by the Save Disney campaign led by Walt's own nephew, Roy Disney. Iger was seen by many as an underdog, a company man unlikely to win over a skeptical board. He describes the meticulous and at times demeaning process of essentially having to campaign for the job, laying out his vision while the company was in a state of open civil war. It was a masterclass in navigating corporate drama and proving his worth against powerful opposition. Second, the book gives you the unvarnished story behind the deals. When Iger decided to acquire Pixar, he first had to personally cold call Steve Jobs, who proceeded to list every single reason he despised Disney under its previous leadership. Iger just listened. It was this act of humility that began to mend the relationship. In a moment of profound trust, Jobs confided in Iger that his cancer had returned before the multi-billion-dollar deal was even finalized, sealing their bond. Iger is just as candid about acquiring Marvel, detailing the challenge of convincing the board that the testosterone-fueled brand wouldn't tarnish Disney, and the delicate dance with Marvel's legendarily reclusive chairman, Ike Perlmutter. Third, the book's most powerful moments come from Iger's handling of crisis. He shares the story of the tragic alligator attack at a Disney World resort with gut-wrenching detail. Instead of delegating, he immediately flew to Orlando to support the team and speak with the grieving family, believing that in moments of tragedy, a leader's humanity is paramount. In another instance, the grand opening of Shanghai Disneyland, a project years in the making, was overshadowed by the horrific Pulse nightclub shooting and the alligator attack happening back in Orlando. Iger describes the emotional weight of having to address these tragedies with his team and Chinese government officials just hours before the celebratory launch. In summary, The Ride of a Lifetime is not a polished corporate history. It's a surprisingly candid and human look at the immense pressure, emotional toll, and high-wire diplomacy required to lead a global empire. It reveals that the biggest challenges aren't always in the boardroom, but in navigating the difficult, messy, and often tragic realities of the human experience. A key takeaway from the book is Iger's reflection on integrity and leadership. It's a lesson I've carried with me my whole life. In any negotiation, be clear about where you stand from the beginning. It's also a sign of respect. If you enjoyed this summary, you might also like Disney War by James B. Stewart, which details the tumultuous era Iger inherited, and Bad Blood by John Carreyrou for another gripping tale of high-stakes corporate drama.